we're going to be discussing the outcomes from the meeting and some of the other outcomes we didn't get to hear about right there. And joining us to have this conversation, we have Mr. Segun Ajayi Kadri, is a DG, Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, joining me right here in the studio. It's good to have you on the show, sir. Good morning.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, and definitely so much was talked about from last week into the weekend, with that meeting that you had with the Customs Service. And I'm wondering, is this the first time you're having this kind of consultation with the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria and the Customs Service? Or have we seen this happen before?
Yes, we have a long history of relationship with Customs. And it's born out of the fact that we are major stakeholders of Nigeria Customs Service, and the fact that we have had, in the course of delivering our services, MAN to its members and Customs to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, taking charge of trade facilitation. So we've had quite a number of exchanges, but consulting with them, engaging with them at the highest level, with the CG of Customs and his DCGs, the president of MAN, the DG, and key members of the association, for quite some time now, we've not had it at this level.
Right, but definitely there was a lot of conversations, around trade facilitation, and getting our borders, smarter, at this point. But I know there was also a closed door meeting, held there, and I'm sure you can give us some, some sound bites from there.
It was a closed-door meeting. As a matter of fact, and throughout the opening ceremony of that engagement, we made it clear that it was like a family meeting, because it's inconceivable to talk of MAN without Customs, and also Customs without MAN. So we saw it as a family meeting. And that was because there was a critical issue that concerned both of us, manufacturers in particular. And so after the opening, we had to go for a closed-door meeting because we needed to discuss a critical issue. And it centers around the 4% FOB that was being charged by Customs, which we felt needed to be re-examined. And that general atmosphere, the open meeting, will not be sufficient for us to look at the nitty-gritty, grow granular, and explain things to each other. So happily, that closed-door meeting afforded the opportunity, and we were able to come out with an agreement that will be mutually beneficial. One, it will be good for the economy of the country. The concerns of our members were addressed, and we discussed quite a number of issues that will assist Customs to perform their role of trade facilitation, enhancing smart development at the port, digitalization, quite a number of things.
Right, and definitely, I'm sure for the man on the street, he'll be wondering, with all of these consultations happening, let's imagine, that we see action, going forward. What does this translate to, for the average man? Does it mean lower prices for the consumer?
Okay, so the 4% FOB was meant to replace the 1% CISS and the 7% cost of collection. But we felt that it was going to be way too high because it was going to add about 186% to the cost of import. And we felt that if this happened, it will fan inflation and, like you rightly mentioned, the issue of the price on the street. So now that this has been ordered down, what it means is that we are only going to revert to what we've had before, which is the 1% CISS and then the 7% cost of collection. But what I would say is that it has saved price escalation. That's what we should look forward to.
Right. All right. So, beyond the Customs Service, what other trade-related, policies would you like to see, going forward?
Okay, so I think that there are quite a number of policies that have been put in place by government, particularly, and I would like to talk about the monetary policies. Recently, we've seen the central bank going down just a little bit on the rates, and this has not happened, I think, in the last 5 years or so. So what we are saying is that We are seeing some stability in the economy. And so there is need now to intensify efforts at sustaining the implementation of measures that have been put in place by government to accelerate growth. So, for instance, the beginning, I hope it is, the beginning of the winding down on rate escalation by the CBN is an indication that there is stability in the economy. People are confident in the economy, and we should see it come down some more, because you know the average lending rate now to the manufacturer is still above 30%. And I mean, you can't make any meaningful production activity with that kind of rate. So we like to see it come down some more, in direct answer to your question. We also like to see a situation where other regulatory agencies will be able to collaborate with the manufacturers, the productive sector, for us to have a situation where you are not seen as a gate man, you are not seen as a headmaster. You are seen as an agency of government that is to facilitate production, that is to facilitate competitiveness. Because one fantastic thing that has happened with customs, which I think needs to cover, is for you to go granular and understand what will be the impact of what policies, what measures you are implementing. And when you see clearly that it could potentially disrupt the stability that we have, it could potentially increase the cost of production, it could compromise ease of doing business, you come to an understanding amongst each other. Because at the end of the day, it is the whole economy that will be benefited. We also look forward to a situation where we quickly accelerate the exchange rate ease that we are having. I mean, we shouldn't take our eyes off the ball. We can see that Naira is appreciating. We shouldn't do anything to escalate it further, because we agree that there's some stability, but the rate is also still high. And except you increase production, except you are able to substitute what you need dollar to import, you will continue to have an unstable and escalating currency.
So, you know, technically looking at the currency side of things, and now we have the first rate cut in Nigeria in 5 years, it almost seems things are looking up, you know, for your industry, you know, at this point. But, you know, going into the next rate setting meeting, how many basis points would you be expecting cuts this time?
Okay, so I don't want to assume that I'm not aware that these things are very technical and that the CBN is looking at a whole pot of activities. But I do hope that from all that they are putting together, they will be able to have reasonable assumptions that will allow them to lower it. We should start to see like 100...
Maybe 100 basis points
yes,
cuts.
Basis point cuts.
At the next meeting.
Yes, I mean, you see, we need to send the right signals. And I must tell you, for the manufacturer, we have said that the interest rate that we will prefer that we have should be no more than 5%. And that's a far shot from it. Of course, we do know that it's only specialized banks that will be able to give that. But for those who cannot access it, there's need for the commercial banks to be at a level where they will be able to give much lower interest rate. And we should continue to build confidence. I believe that the central bank is on the right track. It also needs to deepen the process such that we do not have lapses. I mean, the CBN was once directly intervening, but it has gone back to playing its regular role, but that void needed to be filled. And I think it's important that the CBN makes arrangement to fill that void and also to lessen the pressure on the commercial banks so that they will be able to have much easier lending rates for us.
Right, and you know, definitely going into 2026 and seeing what we've seen, you know, in this part of, you know, 2025, do you see the burden ease further, you know, for manufacturers in 2026?
Yes, honestly, I think we do, even though we are cautious about that, because 2026 also promises to be a year that will witness intense political activities. I mean, what we have seen in the latter part of 2025 is giving that indication. But we must maintain attention on the economy because it's very important. And we also see that the stability that we are witnessing, government should not disrupt it. And so we should keep moving in the same direction and ensuring that we do not take our eyes off the ball. We see insecurity should be further improved upon. Fantastic job our security agencies are doing, but still more needs to be done. We need to continue to watch inflation, because it has a tendency of escalating towards the end of the year. So we should be very mindful of that. With all the reform measures that are taking place, we should maintain the break. And then we should watch what is happening in the oil and gas industry, particularly with the disruption that is being threatened now. I think we need to be very careful.
I would like to get your feedback on what we're seeing play out right there in the oil and gas industry.
Yeah, it's a very unfortunate development, I must say. And you see, there is need for us to be extremely careful about what's happening here. Without any doubt, Dangote is a revolution in that industry that I believe every Nigerian should be proud. So it is unconscionable that you have an industry being almost deliberately battered, troubled from every side, one trouble after the other. And I think that it doesn't send the right signal. It is beyond Dangote refinery. And I think we should be careful about that. If there is any issue about the labor, with the labor unions, there's need to sit around the table. And the law has provided for opportunities for you to seek redress anywhere. So you do not hold the nation to ransom. Just because you have issues. And from what I have read, this matter came to a head when they wrote for their checkoff pay. Is that what this is all about? And are we going to destroy a $20 billion industry just because there are these issues? I don't know any businessman who will not be concerned about saboteurs within, or who will not be concerned about the state of mind and the orientation of his workers when you have that kind of investment.
Because sometimes I try to picture in my mind that, okay, just imagine I'm a foreigner, I'm trying to bring in some FDI,
yes,
into the country, and I see some of this drama playing out. It might put a dent on my confidence.
Absolutely. And to other investors who are aspiring to invest big like Dangote, when you see him being dealt with this way, being served this way, it's a complete disincentive. And there are so many other African countries that are beckoning, come and invest here. So I don't think this should be a matter that we should be dramatic about. It's a good thing that the federal government is stepping in, because it is very, very important that we do not allow this shenanigans to go on for too long. We should support local manufacturing, because that is the way to go. And if there are issues, they should be sorted out, not holding anyone by the jugular. It's very important that we focus on that.
Let's hope all sides are satisfied, yes, going forward, and especially the average consumer, that's been dragged on all sides, at this point. But thank you so much for helping us unpack this. I'm Mr. Segun Ajayi Kadri, is the DG Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. We do look forward to more collaborations, going forward with your association and the relevant industry. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right.